Situation. Anyway, let's go up to the Skype wall. Delighted to say our referee in residence here on Sports Night Live is Jeff Winter, and he's with us again now. Jeff, good evening, mate. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Mike. Good evening, Perry.
Hello, Jeff. Well, let's bring this right up to date, Jeff. We've got the situation now where the referral of the Shaun Derry sending off has been rejected by the FA. To me, that's a ridiculous decision because having had the advantage as a TV viewer that all TV viewers get to see it from 4 different angles, it was a dive, it wasn't a penalty, and the decision was hopelessly wrong.
Can't argue with any of your facts there. The one thing I will get in quickly, though, Mike, and I think I'll be getting this in quickly over the next few weeks till the end of the season. If QPR go down, they don't go down because of a decision in that match or the next 4 or 5 matches. Yeah. On the opening day of the season, they got hammered at home to Bolton 4-0. If they'd have won that game, they'd have been 6 points better off over Bolton than they are now. And there will be, come the end of the season, I think 38 games in the season. So when people can look back at a penalty or an offside in the last game of the season and say, those points, that decision cost us our place, I'll argue till I'm blue in the face on that. So that's got me off my soapbox on that one.
Right.
But with regard to the decision, I had a feeling the FA would take this course of action because, you know, they don't correct other refereeing errors in a game of football. They may or they could have, overturned the sending off decision, but the fact that it shouldn't have been even at that stage because, there was offside. They've never done it before, and I don't think that they're going to start now, unfortunately.
Jeff, do you think it's a little bit as well with the FA and Mike Riley, because there have been so many decisions, big decisions were wrong at the weekend, they didn't want to be admitting that one's a bit wrong as well. Do you know what I mean? They want to back the referee rather than go against him. Because the common sense thing is, everybody could see, if they said, look, it wasn't really a penalty, he was offside, it wasn't a penalty, mate, QPR have lost the game 2-0, common sense would say Shaun Derry shouldn't be suspended. He shouldn't be missing any games. And everybody would go, OK, you've admitted you made a mistake, then we move on.
Yeah, I can see everybody's side on this one. And, common sense would say, well, it shouldn't have been a penalty because, first and foremost, whether it was a push, whether it was a dive, whatever, first of all, the assistant referee's flag should have gone up and it should have been offside. But what I think, or the angle I think they'll be coming from is that, we could sit here every single Monday, Tuesday after the weekend's games and say, well, that shouldn't have been a goal because it was offside. That shouldn't have been a penalty because it was a foul. And we don't go back and sort of correct all those decisions. So I think if they did correct this one with regard to the discipline side of things, then possibly and probably they open an absolute can of worms because every other team could say, well, hang on a minute, fine, that benefits QPR and, saves Shaun Derry from a one-match ban.
Yeah.
But what about our player?
Yeah.
And that's possibly the angle they're coming from.
Yeah, maybe. Talking about correcting decisions or not, of course, we've got the Balotelli situation was also resolved this afternoon. Balotelli will not now be retrospectively punished for what I thought, and Perry as a professional footballer thought, was a potential leg breaker of an assault on another player.
That's exactly what it was. It was an assault.
It was, I tried explaining this to someone this afternoon. They said, how didn't the referee see that? Well, the referee was the other side of it, and I think one of the Arsenal player's legs was sort of blocking his vision for the studs that went in on the other one. But, how it wasn't seen by someone, we don't know.
Well, apparently it was.
They're saying they are, Jeff. That's why they can't do it. They're saying that Dermot Gallagher said yesterday that it was good that Martin Atkinson hadn't booked him or given a foul because there's no action. So he could say, I didn't see it, so I want him when it looked at. What they're saying is one of the officials has seen the incident and decided not to act on it. Now, if that's the case, that official should be stood down.
Well, I suppose the other thing is he was sent off during the game, and can he? He can't be sent off twice. It just wasn't a good weekend for officials, and I or anybody else, Dermot Gallagher is a sensible lad. He looks at it from the referee's point of view, but it doesn't matter who we are. You can't defend the indefensible, and that tackle was horrendous. He was very very lucky he didn't incur a serious injury. And in fairness, you know, the fact that he got sent off later on, I don't think that makes up for it, because you know what he did get sent off for, the 2 yellow cards. They were nowhere near as serious as the challenge he should have been sent off for.
No, you know what I found unusual about it as well, though, Jeff? You've obviously refereed. Sometimes, and I've played where I've actually have gone to hurt. When players say they don't mean to hurt someone, it's a load of rubbish, because Balotelli knew exactly what he was doing. But when you're refereeing a game, you can tell normally if there's a bit of Tetris going on between 2 players, and you watch for it. You know, if they're getting heated and getting involved. That one was just completely, there was no reason for him to do it. Nothing.
And the other thing, Perry, and this is said by both sides of the game, players and referees, it's about knowing your players as well. You know, now some people say that means that you're prejudging incidents. It doesn't mean that at all. It means as a referee, you're doing your homework, you know where your likely problems are going to incur. And I think Mr. Balotelli is carrying a 10-foot sign on his head saying, watch me, referees, because at some stage during the 90 minutes, I'm likely to do something crazy.
Absolutely.
Now that doesn't mean you hammer him for something and say, you know, look on the bad side of a tackle. You've got to see it. And that one, I can't believe that an official has said he's seen it.
And then not acted upon it. Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree.
So,
let me come in to defend an official, Jeff, Mark Clattenburg. And the reason I'm defending him for the penalty decision at Chelsea is because he was absolutely consistent from the first moment about why he'd awarded that penalty. He wasn't punishing Danny Murphy. It was the other player he was punishing, but he didn't change his mind after the game. We actually saw him talk to Danny Murphy at the time, so he deserves great credit for standing by his decision.
Well, I wish we'd see more of that, because, you know, people say referees are not accountable. They are accountable. The only problem they've got at the moment, and I've been away all weekend, so I caught up on my football last night.
Yeah.
And in my day, we used to have about 22, 23 referees at the very beginning, and it came down a little bit that refereed Premiership matches. And over a busy Easter period, what you would have is you would referee one and you'd be fourth official at another.
Right.
Now, they've got such a small number of officials. Most of those referees had refereed 2 major games in the space of the 2-3 days.
Yeah.
And you might say, well, okay, players do that, so why can't referees? I think at times the referees, because of the system, are being put under a heck of a lot of pressure, more so than is good for them. But at the end of a game, give them the opportunity to come out and hold their hands up if they've got it wrong, or as Mark Clattenburg has done to the players, and I believe it's got into the media. It certainly was reported on television. He's saying, look, this is why I've given it. And, you know, when you look at it from Mark's point of view, and we do this every single week, when it's slowed down and you look at it from different angles, you think, blimey, that was a soft one. The referee doesn't get that. He sees the legs sliding in, he feels there's contact, he gives the decision, he tells the players why he's given the decision, and then, you know, we're all brilliant referees when we've watched it 10 times on the telly.
Stay ahead of the game with Sports Tonight Live. Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Search for Sports Tonight Live on Facebook and like our fan page. Follow Sports Tonight TV on Twitter and tweet us your thoughts and opinions. Sports Tonight Live, it's the platform for the fans.